brothers and sisters. We continue to move along in the Bible in these single epistles or one chapter epistles, and we move on to actually the two sisters, 2nd and 3rd John. Now, like I said from the beginning, we're going to compare and contrast. We're going to see how they complete each other, 2nd and 3rd John. The same way that Jude and 2nd Peter chapter 2 kind of comes together and completes each other. Now, with that said, don't be surprised if in the next couple of videos we'll see 2nd John verse 1 to 4 and then 3rd John 1 to 4 instead of more 2nd John, because I want to really go through it, the greetings, the body of work, and then the salutations, and really show you how they come together and say kind of the same thing, but add a little bit of information from one side to another and complete each other. Both of them are dealing with the same problem: heretics, heresies, false teachers, false teachings. The difference is in 2nd John, it's from the outside perspective, who is trying to come in. From 3rd John is the inside perspective, somebody in the church is causing trouble. What do we do? Now, there is some controversies about these books, and that is who wrote them. Most believe it's John himself, and some more recently have argued that it's not. Now, we all know, I should say, that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because the author is the Holy Spirit, is God Himself. God has spoken. Whoever the human author was is secondary, really. It's God. Another interesting situation, actually, and subject of questioning comes to who is being addressed in 2nd John. In the Greek, we read that he's writing to Kyria. I'm probably not saying it right, but Kyria could mean lady, but it could also be a name of a person. So on one side, some have said that he's talking to an actual woman called Kyria. The same way in 3rd John, he's talking to Gaius, a real person. Now, others have taken it more generally, and yet it's a word that means lady, and he's calling her the elect lady, that he's probably talking to the church in general, just like in 1st John. That he's talking to a specific church, and at the same time in the entire church of Christ, the invisible church around the world at that point. And that's why he's talking about the elect lady, as in the bride of Christ. Now, it doesn't make much difference, so feel free to disagree if you think that it really is a woman called Kira. I think it's actually a church itself. But there is a little slight difference. It does come into play when you start applying what John is teaching in 2nd John. And we'll get to that in time. For now, like I said, I would highly encourage you to read 2nd and 3rd John and compare them, actually, as you read them, the greetings or introductions and the body of work, and see how he's saying slightly different things when it comes to outside the problems, and then a slightly different thing when he's talking about inside problems, but he's still trying to deal with the same problem, and that's why it kind of completes each other. Well, you can't just apply 3rd John because there's situations where it's somebody from the outside. The same way you can't just apply 2nd John because some of the things he's talking about, it's people from the inside, and that wouldn't work. That's why they kind of come together and mesh and complete itself. Now, the epistle itself is pretty, epistles themselves are pretty short, of course. A basic introduction or greetings that, like I said, seem the same. Then a body of work where he's addressing certain situation positively and negatively. Like in 2nd John, he'll talk about how some are faithful. And he'll talk about Gaius being faithful in 3rd John. Then he'll jump to something that's dangerous, false teachers. And then he'll talk about a dangerous man within the church in 3rd John. And then finally he will complete by saying kind of the same thing. I want to say so much more, but I'd rather do it in person, which is interesting. But we'll all get to that in time. So this is a very short video just to kind of introduce what these epistles are about, and to say, please see for yourself. It's rich and really apropos, as we say in French. necessary nowadays because there's so much false teachings and false teachers, so much harm within the church and surrounding everything that's called Christianity. We need to be alert, and no matter how small and or little this epistles are, they're so important. So with that said, see you next time. Be blessed, my brothers and sisters.